Hi, I'm Wanda from Jimmy Branch Homestead, and I have a lot of vegetables from the garden to preserve today, and I'm going to combine them with some that I bought as well because we're making stir-fry mixes. So to start, I'm going to need to wash up several of these things. So let me get that done and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I finally got all of the vegetables washed and cleaned and bad spots cut out. Here's another not really bad spot, but it's starting, so I'm going to take it out. And these are not rotten, but they're not desirable in my dish. So I'm just going to cut those out and the pigs will benefit from that. So I have all my bell peppers, my squash, one bunch of celery here. And so I'm going to start just kind of cutting up the vegetables and putting them in sections on a cookie tray so that when I get ready to pack the packages, things will be in categories and I can just grab from each one. So I'm just cutting up all the vegetables. I like the bell peppers to be cut in skinny strips, but you cut it however you prefer. Again, I'm making a stir fry, so when I do that, I like to do it in strips. You do need to watch, I already checked this one, but sometimes when you're going to cut them up, it might be bad on the inside that you didn't see when you were cleaning the outside. For instance, I've seen, I have some that have like a mold in the very bottom, even though the peppers are perfectly fine. I think it's because of the weather outside when they were growing, or maybe they got too much water, or maybe both. So this is the part that takes quite a while. Remember, quality foods will yield you a quality product in the end game. So you want to make sure that your stuff is all quality. Let's see, let's do a red one. Oh, here's a perfect example of, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the bottom has spots that I need to cut out. So I typically cut the bottom out anyway. I use it, but this part just has a little bit in one spot, so I'm just going to get rid of that entire spot. Just say goodbye to it. The rest of this is good. Then there's some in the middle, and I just take that out. I had my husband take the other goodies out to the pigs, so the little bit that's left here that's not good, I'll just put in my compost bucket because it's not big enough to really account for anything anyway. I usually do my slices up and down, but sometimes on these small peppers it's easier just to do the sides. That way I end up with some nice long pieces. Okay, and I'm trying to watch the colors. I don't know how you do it, but I prefer to just cut the sides out first in sections. I find that easier. because when I'm putting the packets together or the meals together, I try to get a little of each color to make it more colorful rather than all the peppers of the same color. It just looks prettier. Tastes the same, pretty much, but it just looks prettier. Although the red ones are sweeter, a lot sweeter than the others. The yellow ones are pretty sweet too. Do I have any more yellow ones here? So I always cut the top off first when I'm cleaning my bell peppers, and just kind of pull the rings apart so they look like this, and then I go back and slice those up, and then it's easier just to cut around on the inside and pull all the seeds out in the clump. Different people do it different ways. I just find that to be a pretty easy way to do it.
They really love that eggs.
Yeah.
They went for them before anything else.
They know what those are. I've been feeding them to them.
They like them, that's for sure.
Talking about the pigs. So I finished all the peppers, and now I'm just cutting up the squash in bite-sized chunks. The next I usually just kind of leave in the round shape for the disc shape. And I like to use the fresher, younger squash for this. Cut out the blossom end here. The younger ones are more tender. I know a lot of people blanch these, but I don't like mushy squash. So I like to just put all my veggies together, and I've had no problems with them at all in keeping in the freezer. If you've been watching my channel, you know I do a lot of different methods of preserving. And this is a meal for us. All I need to do is add the chicken or pork or beef or whatever I want to add to that stir fry. Okay, and then the celery, different people do it differently, do it in slices or whatever. I like about 1-inch chunks. Again, personal preference. And I know I will have to cut up more celery because this was only about half of a bunch. I just didn't have any more workroom to put anything else out here on the cutting boards until I cleared some of this. This is going to make yummy meals from our produce during the winter. I am so looking forward to this. I had done this a couple years ago and had enough vegetables to do up a lot of batches of it, and we really enjoyed it. Again, it's a quick, easy meal because all the chopping's already done. It's just cooking the meat, or in our case, we have a lot of cooked meat already that's home canned. If you haven't seen those videos, go back and check out our playlist. I have a whole playlist on canning and one on freeze drying and others on preserving general. So this is going to go in the regular preserving other methods because it's not canning or freeze drying. Oops. Ooh, I don't have any onions on here yet. So I guess before I do anything else, I need to clean up some onions. Okay, so my tray is full of peppers. I still have a few over here that aren't cut yet in case I need them. They're cleaned and they just need sliced. I think I had 4 or 5, I can't remember now, yellow squash. Those are all cubed up. A bundle and a half of celery. I think 3 or 4 onions. 3, I think. And now I'm going to do carrots. So what do you put in your stir fries? Leave it in comments below. Okay, for the carrots, I have baby carrots. They're already cleaned, peeled and cleaned, washed and everything. And I'm going to kind of cut them lengthwise because it is a stir fry. So I'm cutting them in half or a thirds and then into slices. So they will look like this. So let's see how quickly we can get these done. Like I said, the most time-consuming thing is all the cutting. And then we can start packaging, and I'll show you how I do that. And we are going to vacuum seal today because I like to vacuum seal everything. It lasts so much longer in the freezer, whether it's meat, vegetables, fruits, whatever. I always like to vacuum seal. This is going to be wonderful. I don't think I can wait for winter to have some of this. And how thick you make them is up to you. Just remember you want them to cook fairly quick along with the other stuff. Oops. Get my carrots mixed into my onions here. I like to keep them separate so when I start bagging, everything is handy. I probably should have put the celery on this tray too, but that's all right. I'm not moving it now. Unless it becomes a problem when I'm bagging. Okay, so like this one is big enough, even though it's a baby carrot. I cut it in thirds, and then I'm going to cut each slice into strips. On my carrots, it's running about 3 strips per carrot. 3 to 4, depending on how big the carrots are. You could slice these also, just round slice them. But since it's a stir fry, I kind of like to do the long slice. I don't think my food processor would really cut these the way I want them to be. That's why I'm not using that. You could shred them, which wouldn't be awful, but again, I kind of prefer the long, skinny pieces. Okay, well, I went out in the garden and harvested some more things to add to our stir fry. So I got a head of cabbage here, and we're going to get this all washed up. And broccoli. So we'll get it all washed up and see how much I get out of it. See how much I can use for the stir fry. Okay, I have a lot of vegetables ready here. So I have my peppers, my squash, my celery. My celery in the garden's not ready yet, so this was bought. Onions, carrots, broccoli from the garden, and cabbage from the garden. So over half of this is from the garden. That's exciting. If you don't have a garden, you can always do this by buying the produce on sale or at your local farmer's market. But I am so excited to be done cutting. It took me hours. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put the produce in these bags. They are by Avid Armor. They are a vacuum pouch, so they will vacuum seal and seal good. I am also using the Avid Armor Ultra Series vacuum sealer. So I love this vacuum sealer because it makes it so much easier when you have full pouches to put in here. I don't think it's going to stay because my counter's not wide enough. So I'm going to kind of just start by, let's see if I can, oops, bumped it. Okay, so we're going to fill a bag and see what we have. And I kind of try to do from different things at a time. So that it kind of gets mixed through the bag. I'm not doing real big handfuls yet. And I do pack these in 10 by 13 bags because this is for my husband and I. And if this is the only thing we're having, you know, it takes a little bit more to fill you up, but it's very healthy because it's mostly vegetables. I will most likely pack some in the smaller bags too, in case just one of us want this. Okay, this is going to be a pretty healthy bag. Pretty big bag. Uh-oh. And of course, as I'm filling them, I start dropping them in the other sections. So we'll do our best here, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. So that is a pretty nice bag. You don't want to fill it all the way up because you do need to have room, you know, for it to get in the bars to seal. Okay. So I'm going to use my Avid Armor. I do have it set on 6, which is what's required for the polymer plastic bags, or anyway, the vacuum seal bags that are plastic, not the Mylars, because this is going to be in the freezer. All right. And now I'm going to hit automatic vacuum and seal. And it does the work. I know it's kind of loud. Takes a while. Okay, now it's quiet. It's going to poof in just a moment as it sucks out the air. There we go. And now it doesn't look like as much. But I just love these. That takes all the air out so that it'll last longer. I know my vegetables, if I just throw them in like a Ziploc or something, it doesn't take all that long for them to freezer burn. By taking the air out, it takes that problem away. So I've had vegetables that are vacuum sealed like this in the freezer for as much as a couple years and they still were good. I don't recommend that long, but you know, it is what it is till you get around to using them. So very excited to have this product in the house. We purchased it quite a while back. It is kind of expensive to have this vacuum sealer versus the other ones, but I don't know if you can see down in there. There is a dip down there so that the heat bar is up here, and that way you can vacuum seal or just regular seal liquids. You can also marinate using the bags and this vacuum sealer. So it is a healthy investment, but if you can afford it, it's a great tool. We vacuum seal all of our meat. If we're not canning it, if we're putting it in the freezer, we always vacuum seal it. Even if we take our pigs to the butcher, which we had one taken not too long ago, we had as much of it vacuum sealed as possible. That way the meat does last longer, even in a regular freezer. And we hate frost-free freezers. Whenever possible, we get the old ones that are not frost-free. I would rather defrost because those frost-frees make your food go bad and it freezer burns them so much quicker. Unfortunately, the refrigerator, because it is a newer one, both of them, the freezers in the refrigerators are frost-free. So we try to put stuff in there that we're going to use pretty quickly, like frozen biscuits, prepackaged sausage, that kind of stuff that we use very frequently because, as I said, you don't want to throw out food. I hate throwing out food. So that is a 10 by 13 seal. I will mark the date on it before I put it in the freezer, but I'm going to package these up. I'm also going to package a few, like I said, in the next bag smaller. So I'll do one of those so you can kind of see what that is. Okay, so this is going to be the smaller size. It's 8 by 10. And the smaller size works great for most of my meats, except for the roast, then I'll need to use the bigger size. But they even have a 6 by 12 that I really like for like chicken legs or single steaks or, you know, that kind of thing. Getting veggies all over the counter. Now I can show you how they compare when they're shrunk down. The other thing about the vacuum sealing, because it takes all the air out, there's no extra room besides what you're freezing. So it saves a lot of room in the freezer. So it doesn't look hugely different, but it is quite a bit more in this one. Uh-oh, this one doesn't feel like it sealed vacuum good because it's coming back up. Oh, I have cabbage stuck in the seal. So I'll have to move it back a little bit and try it again. Let's see. That's something you need to check each time to make sure your seal stays. Oops. I don't know if I can do this. Scoot it back as far as I can. Oops. There's little buttons here, or little knobs here I have to get it under that holds it in place. And sometimes that's kind of hard to do. Okay, I've scooted this back. We're going to try this again. Oh my freezer's getting so full. I might have to put this in the freezer outside. Okay. I was able to double seal right above it. I don't know if you can see that for sure. So even though the cabbage leaf is in the first one, it looks like it's sealed through the rest. So I have to remember not to put the cabbage maybe on the top. It might help that, solve that issue. Okay, let's try another one. Now I'm so hungry for stir fry. So this is what we ended up with. 4 of the big packages, basically 2 of the smaller ones because I ran out on the last one and it's not nearly as full. You can see these are pretty full and this one's got a couple inches. Not too bad though when most of the produce came out of our garden. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way that you can help us to grow our channel. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. God bless and take care.